Welcome, the Northman Coaching Podcast with Gary and AJ. Thanks for tuning in. Building a better you, shoulder to shoulder, brick by brick. Let's go.
Good evening and welcome to Northman Coaching's Podcast with Gary and AJ. I'm Gary, your host. It's my good friend and co-host, AJ. What's going on, brother?
Much. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. So tonight we are going to be talking about the value of authenticity. And honestly, this one cuts deep because we live in a world where people are rewarded for their performance online, in relationships, performance in leadership, performance in masculinity, and everybody is trying to look like something. What are your thoughts on that, AJ?
Yeah, I agree. I really agree with that statement. I think that, especially in marriage, I think that men have a habit of being very authentic when they're out at work. And it's that whole saying, if you don't bring work home and you don't bring home to work, right? And by doing so, now, don't get me wrong, you shouldn't bring your stresses from home to work, and you shouldn't vice versa. However, who you are at home and who you are at work should be the same guy. You should always have that true authenticity to yourself. That's what makes respect really come out in life. And another thing in masculinity, especially in teenage boys, I had the situation with my teenage son. He is worried about making sure that everybody thinks that he's a cool kid. Even though he's a smart kid, he doesn't want to be looked at as one of the dorks. So instead, he'll do stupid things so that he's not classified as a dork, which, get him in trouble instead of being authentic to who he truly is. Authenticity is one of the biggest aspects of life. Being true to yourself all day, every day is such a comforting feeling. It's such a relieving feeling to never have to be somebody else.
True. So I heard a saying once said, why be someone else? Everyone else is already taken. So just be you. But
That is very true.
For the listeners out there, authenticity, it begins with honesty, but especially honesty with yourself. And most men already know what needs to change. You're there? Okay. Have a circus come to town?
I don't know what happened there.
Most men already know what needs to change. The real battle is actually confronting it. They know they have to do it, but they maybe tomorrow, or let's change on Monday. No, let's change on the first of the month. Let's do that. And they keep pushing it and pushing it. So they know that the change has to be made, but it's just easier to play that in your head.
It's like the word try.
Yes, exactly.
It's like the word try. Everybody, I'm going to try to do better tomorrow. I'm going to try to make sure that I get that done tomorrow. And we talk about that in the men's group all the time. It's not, I'm going to try. It's, I'm going to do this. That's what you're going to do. When you say, I'm going to try, you're giving yourself room for an out. You're giving yourself room for an excuse. But with authenticity, like I said, I struggled with authenticity when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
I went through a phase of, not really being sure who I was. I didn't truly have parental figures to kind of guide me in that direction. What I did take from my parents really wasn't great to who I wanted to be. I did not want to be that person. So I mimicked the type of people that I wanted to be, which slowly but surely, as I got older, I realized that all I was doing was creating different aspects of myself, right? Different personalities. And it wasn't who I was. And as soon as I became authentic to who I truly was and walked that road on a day-to-day basis with anyone and everyone, it was such a relieving feeling. It felt so good to be the same person, whether I was at work, whether I was at church, or I was with the boys. It didn't matter. I was authentic.
I think that's where, a lot of people, when they're working on figuring out who they are, there's a difference between performing growth and actually growing, where they're doing it to impress others and they're not doing it for themselves. And like you said, with the men's group, we are always talking about how actions will reveal your true values more than your words do. Your actions are stronger than your word, whatever the saying you want to say. On that note, speaking of the men's group, I want to say this. I want to promote my friend's book, Joel Rosario. It is May December End, The Ballad of Joey Flowers.
Great read. It's a great read.
As I sit here, feeling somewhat like a prisoner serving his sentence, I can't help but think about the past, or the future for that matter. Hey, I'm human. At least I think I am. People give you tons of advice or their opinions about certain situations, and they make sense, but like the old saying goes, easier said than done.
And this book is about, he wrote this. This was his like self-help journal book that he wrote to help himself through difficult times. And he was gracious enough to put it out there for the whole world to see. So it is available on Amazon Kindle, Nook, BarnesandNobles.com, and just regular Amazon. You can order the hard copy, the paperback, all the good stuff. And he's also in a bookstore in Wisconsin that I mentioned last week that I forgot the name of. So anyway, there's
Jeez.
that. And he's also got his own podcast with his wife. It is called Sessions and Lessons Unscripted, and they drop a new episode every single Sunday and Wednesday. They are like self-help / 90s morning talk show on the radio. They're really good. Check them out. They're good. Check it out. And his wife, Glow Rosario, she has her own podcast that comes out every single Friday, and that is called Glowing Off Script. That's a little bit more self-help. Gets a little deeper into mental health type issues and whatnot. And that comes out every single Friday. Both podcasts are on all major platforms. So check them both out. That is Glowing Off Script and Sessions and Lessons Unscripted. All right. And back to authenticity. So to me, authenticity it's about alignment. It's your words, your habits, your values, and your private life. And I think the two most important things, what I just said, are your values and your private life, because those two will shape your habits and your words.
Yep. I have to agree. Somebody once said to me, "You're different at church than you are at home." What does that say about you?
It means you're two different people.
Somebody used to say that to me. And I loved the statement of it because, when you're going to talk to somebody of higher authority, most people you will realize have a different tone that will come out of them. They all of a sudden button up. They talk more respectful, more wisely. They sound more professional. And who are you truly lying to yourself in that moment? Or in which moment are you lying to yourself? Is that who you truly are? Is that your authentic self? Or is the authentic self the guy that you try to pretend to be at home? Which one does it become? If
Say
you
that.
can
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I would say neither of them are your true self. Because, I mean, how can you decide if you believe this today and this tomorrow? You don't believe in either of those, in all honesty.
So what are you missing there? You're
What was that?
missing your foundation. I said, so
Yeah.
what are you missing there? You're missing a foundation. When you
Yeah, well,
actually
honestly,
have a
I
rock
think you're
solid.
missing your values. Because, I mean,
Sure.
authenticity for me, I was definitely not an authentic man prior to this work. But I also did not know my values. And that's part of the oak values that I created, was that I didn't know what a value was. Just like I didn't know what a boundary was. Like I must have missed that in school or something. So when I discovered my values, that's when I realized that, back to what we were saying earlier with everybody's already is somebody. So don't try to be them, be you. And I realized that being me, there was no more stories. I didn't have to act cool in front of you and act like this in front of them, or this way in church, or this way with my kid. It all came together to everything I did represented my values, and my habits began to change. My words changed. My private life was just like my public life, and it just all aligned, and it was wonderful.
Yeah.
But it didn't do it overnight. And
No.
like we said earlier, with tomorrow or Monday or next month, like waiting for the perfect time it's avoidance disguised as planning. I'll plan it out, but really all you're doing is you're avoiding it. And there's no magical moment that changes your life. Action is what changes your life.
Yeah, I have to agree there. So I say foundation, and I say foundation because of the act of, once you have that foundation, you're solid, you're unshakable. But Gary is right. You have to have values in order to have that unshakable foundation. In order for that foundation not to have cracks in it, you have to have values. And as Gary said, if you don't take the time to start putting that work in, it's not an overnight process. You don't just wake up one morning and say, okay, these are what my values are, and that's it. And this is what I'm going to live by. And that's why the value deck that Gary created is such an amazing deck. And I remember when I first received it and going through it and going through the stages that Gary built, it shaped who I am today. It changed who I am today because I found values that I didn't understand. I believe that I did understand values prior to the men's work, and I believe that I did understand boundaries, but I did not project them on a day-to-day basis. And because of that, that meant that there were cracks in my foundation. So it didn't take anything but, a serious problem at work or a problem in my marriage for all of that to crack. And when I sat down with these values, it was in the middle of a divorce. And I was able to sit down and pick out what my values really were, what I wanted to be, who I wanted myself to be portrayed as, who I wanted the world to see me as because of who I truly was inside. And that's the biggest thing. It helps you find out who you are inside. It's not like you just pick 5 values out of the deck and say, okay, this is who I'm going to be. It's not that simple. And that's why Gary says it takes time, it's work. But going through those values, or if you listen to our podcast, then you come to realize, wow, okay, authenticity, that is something that I can stand with. That is something that I feel inside of me. That is something that I really need to work on. Authenticity is one of those values that everybody should have. It's an undeniable value that there is no question asked. Doesn't matter who you are, you should have that value. And if you question having that value, especially as a man, then you deeply need men's work. And
So
there's no better place.
when you said you can't just pick these values, 5 values or whatever, make them yours, or
Yeah.
that is true to an extent. So when I first created these, like I said, I didn't know what values were. I pulled all these off of Google, and I tried every value on. I did. I picked out the ones that meant the most to me, so I thought, and they've changed over the last 3 years. But authenticity is definitely a pillar that every man, every human, honestly, should have, because you want to be true to yourself. And I'm not going to say the word, but we used it last night in the meeting. You become confident when you make promises to yourself. And if you break that promise, then you're living in a world of that word.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're not going to go
I
there.
got
If you
you.
want to know what that word is, then you should join the Northman Brotherhood.
Okay.
Go to northmancoaching.com and click join the Brotherhood. It is open to all men. We have 4 meetings a week, 3 check-ins on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then we have a deep meeting where we get down and we talk about a lot of stuff, and that's on Thursdays.
And it's an amazing thing, just to throw it out there, because I haven't been on for a few weeks because of family issues, but there is nothing more amazing than actually having real brothers that can sit down and hold you accountable and have real conversations with. For all the guys out there that sit there and say that, oh, you can't, talk to men, or, go to counseling or psychiatrists or psychology, like you don't do any of that stuff. Well, it's okay. You don't need to go do those things. Come join a brotherhood. Every guy's got friends out there, right? But your group of friends that you have in the real world that you walk around with 7 days a week, those guys just have your back. They just agree with you. They listen to you. They might have a little bit of a conversation with you, but it's all about agreeing with you. It's not about holding you accountable to who you truly are. It's not about helping you actually get through bumps in the roads. Trust and believe, when it comes down to real serious things in life, you'll realize that those friends, they're not sitting beside you. Our brotherhood's going to stand beside you shoulder to shoulder through it. And we're going to help you build brick by brick. If you're going through a divorce, or you've lost a loved one, or you're going through any type of traumatic ordeal in life, this brotherhood will always be there for you, but we will hold you accountable. We won't just tell you you're right. We won't just agree with you, especially if you're not right. If you're wrong and you're not living life the right way, we're going to help you to work towards being your authentic self, to your real authenticity.
Yep. So
check
on
out
that note,
Northman Coaching.
on that note, comfort, distraction, and excuses are what is going to rob a man of his whole life. You're going to lose years of your life with comfort and distraction and making excuses. And the guys at the bar or the friends you have, they will feed those. They will let they will be part of your distraction. What is with your camera, dude?
My computer.
They will feed your distraction. We will hold you accountable. I'm not saying to ditch those friends that you hang out with. I have friends that I hang out with. I'll have a beer with them or I'll hang out with them, but they're not the guys that I go to, when I'm trying to figure real life things out. I wait and I bring that to the men in the group, my brothers. So to be authentic, it requires responsibility. It requires no blaming, no hiding, and no pretending. So, when things go wrong, you can't say it's because of the weather or because my girlfriend didn't let me do this or my kids are doing this. You can't hide behind, I have no money or whatever. And there's no pretending. You can't say you've done something. You can say you've done something and not actually have done it, but that's the farthest thing from being authentic.
It's losing your integrity right there.
Yes.
But that's what it all comes down to. And that's what you guys can learn in the brotherhood, right? Is that who you are and being true to yourself is what matters. And that's what Gary's point is, who you are deep down inside is who you should always represent. That's real authenticity. That is being truly authentic to yourself. You have to be real to yourself. Saying something out loud that isn't true, that's not being authentic. Because a real responsible man that's authentic has no problem telling anybody, I didn't do it, or this is the reason why I did it, but it's because I chose it. It's not because it's somebody else's fault. It's not, you don't get to blame it on somebody else or something else. The answer is, and has to be, because I chose not to do it. So, and if you're comfortable living that life, that you're comfortable choosing not to live life the right way as a good father, as a good man, as a good husband, as a good person, then authenticity is really a place to start. It's really a
Absolutely.
place to check in and
Absolutely.
check in with the brotherhood, because that's what you really need. That's what you really need.
Yes. And brotherhood matters across the board. Whether you're in our brotherhood or another brotherhood, you have to have that group of men. Because real men, they're going to challenge you to live the life that you were designed to live. So, and on that note, if you guys are going through a divorce or if you were just in the beginning stages, I have a book. It's on the website. It's called The First 30 Days. It is completely free. It is for you guys to read. It will get you through the first 30 days and teach you how to respond versus react. And I can't guarantee this book is going to save your marriage. But if you follow the book properly, it will save you. And if you can save yourself, you can most definitely have an impact on saving your marriage. So
The important part, like Gary said, is to save yourself. Don't ever forget that.
you are the most important person in your life.
That's right. That's right. I went through the work and I saved my marriage. I saved my relationship to a degree. And because I continued to do the work and be truly authentic, there was no more relationship. There was no more marriage. And it's because I saved myself.
Mhm.
The men's work saved me. And by saving me, I realized that that relationship was not meant to be. So sometimes that's what it comes down to.
When you realize that, I think that's when your authenticity really truly kicked in.
Yeah,
So, and I think
for sure.
I say I think, but I know that authenticity is not weakness. I thought in the past that it was, but it is not weakness. It takes courage to be seen honestly. If you can stand up and say, yes, this is who I am, this is me, no matter what the backlash is, don't change who you are, because that's courage and that's authenticity.
Amen.
Amen to that. So if authenticity is something that you're struggling with, transformation starts at the moment that you stop lying to yourself. Remember, like I said earlier, it's your habits, it's your relationships, your mindset, distractions. I think I said all that. I don't know. But those are the things you have to start changing and aligning up with who you truly believe you are. And if you're starting this work right now, you don't know who you are. You can make that person right now. Right now. Change your habits, change your relationships, change your mindset, lose the distractions, and find direction. You can create that man that you want to be right now. So, I
Yeah.
don't have anything
On
else
that
to
note.
plug, really.
And no, just on that note, guys, if you go to northmancoaching.com, for anybody that misses this in the bio, it doesn't read through it, and you've listened, like and subscribe, but go to northmancoaching.com. You can go up to the resources tab on the top right. That will bring you directly to the Brotherhood School, where you get to come in for 7 days for free. You get to check us out. You can scroll through the entire website. You will find everything. You will find the free ebook if you are going through the first 30 days of divorce. Guys, take the time. Take the time for yourself. Save yourself. If you are going through a difficult time in life, brotherhood is where you need, our brotherhood is where you need to be. And I assure you that our brotherhood has a group of amazing men that will stand with you shoulder to shoulder. We will be there for you. We do have a constant message board throughout our brotherhood where we stay in contact with each other outside of the 4 days a week that we have our meetings. But guys, just look in the mirror. If you are not happy with the circumstances that you are in, or you are lacking true authenticity, and you realize that you are one person outside of the home and another person inside of the home, there's things going on, and those things are just going to get worse. Find a brotherhood. Come check us out at northmancoaching.com.
And if you guys like this, like AJ said, like, subscribe, leave a comment. I will read all of them. If I don't read them, AJ will read them. We'll get back to every single comment. So I'm going to
We
leave you
always
with
do.
one final question. Does the man that you see match the man you are? when nobody is watching? Please answer that question. I want to get back to you guys. So any comments, leave them, answer that question, guys. And we'll see you guys tomorrow morning on our devotional. All right. Have a good
That's
night,
it.
guys. Good night,
Have a
AJ.
good one. My brother.
7 days, no obligation, just 7 days for an opportunity to make yourself a better man. Divorce, hardships, we all have or are going through it. You are not alone. Join the Brotherhood. Northman Coaching on School. Stop by today and begin the journey. Shoulder to shoulder, brick by brick. Nothing to lose, everything to gain. You are worth it. Join today.